One cold morning in early autumn, Robert noticed something different. A man about his age was sitting on a bench across the street. The man came every morning at the same time and left after about an hour. He didn't use his phone, he didn't rush, he simply sat there, feeding birds and sometimes smiling at strangers. After a week of watching him from the window, Robert became curious. Robert Miller was 70 years old when he realized something was missing in his life. He lived in a quiet town in Ohio, in a small house he had owned for more than 40 years. The house was clean, well-kept, and completely silent. His wife had passed away 8 years earlier, and his 2 children lived in different states. They called him on holidays. Sometimes they sent photos of their children. Robert always smiled and said he was doing fine. Most days, he followed the same routine. He woke up early, made himself a cup of coffee, and sat near the window on an old wooden bench. From there, he could see the street, the trees, and people walking by. He watched the world move while he stayed still. Robert believed he had lived a successful life. He worked hard, paid his bills on time, and never asked anyone for help. He believed independence was strength. But lately, the days felt long. Too long. One cold morning in early autumn, Robert noticed something different. A man about his age was sitting on a bench across the street. The man came every morning at the same time and left after about an hour. He didn't use his phone, he didn't rush, he simply sat there, feeding birds and sometimes smiling at strangers. After a week of watching him from the window, Robert became curious. One morning, instead of sitting by the window, Robert put on his coat and walked outside. He crossed the street slowly and stopped near the bench. "Mind if I sit here?" Robert asked. The man looked up and smiled warmly. "Not at all," he said. "My name is Henry." They sat in silence for a few minutes, watching the birds. Finally, Henry spoke. "Beautiful morning, isn't it?" Robert nodded. "It is." That day, they talked about small things, the weather, old movies, how the town had changed over the years. When Robert returned home, something felt lighter inside him. The next day, Robert came back, and the day after that. Soon, sitting on the bench became part of his routine. One morning, Robert asked Henry a question that had been bothering him for years. "Do you ever feel like life passed too fast?" Robert asked. Henry smiled gently. "All the time," he said, "but I've learned something important." Robert turned to him. "What's that?" Henry said, "Life doesn't slow down when we get older. We just stop paying attention to the moments that matter." Robert thought about that all day. A few weeks later, Robert decided to do something he hadn't done in years. He called his daughter, not to check in, but to listen. He asked about her day. He asked about his grandchildren. He didn't rush the conversation. He also started talking to his neighbors. A short greeting became a short conversation. A short conversation became a smile. One morning, Robert came to the bench, but Henry wasn't there. The bench stayed empty the next day, and the day after that. Robert felt a quiet worry grow inside him. On the 4th day, he saw a note placed carefully on the bench. It read, "Dear Robert, thank you for the mornings. Thank you for listening. I've moved to be closer to my family. Remember, life feels longer when we share it. Your friend, Henry." Robert sat on the bench for a long time that morning. For the first time in years, he didn't feel alone. From that day on, Robert kept coming to the bench. Sometimes others sat with him. Sometimes they didn't. But Robert always smiled at anyone who passed by. He had finally learned something at 70 years old. Life doesn't become meaningful because we did everything right. It becomes meaningful when we stop sitting behind windows and start sitting beside people. Moral of the story: growing older doesn't mean becoming invisible. It means choosing connection over comfort and presence over pride.